Hey church, how are you? I hope you are well and staying healthy. Hey, I have a passage of scripture that I would just love to share with you today, and it comes out of Psalms 118. But before I read it, I would just love to say this. This passage has perhaps been one of the most challenging and encouraging passages of scripture that I've ever read. Let's read it together. It's Psalms 118:24. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. You know, I love that this is the day that the Lord has made. You know, when we read through this chapter, we can begin to understand that this chapter out of Psalms is about God's provision, His love, and His grace for His people. You know, it begins by saying, like, the Lord's steadfast love endures forever. It goes on and says that He is our strength and He is our song, that when I was distressed, He came and He set me free. You know, these are powerful things that are being said throughout this passage. And it helps us to reflect again on this idea that today is the day that the Lord has made. You know, this verse has even inspired so many songs. You know, I can think of several right now at the top of my head because I love, like, this song is just so good. And what it does is, you might say it inspires, it uplifts, it encourages, and puts a smile on your face. You know, when I was in college, one of the jobs that I had was that I manufactured countertops. I would install them, I would deliver them. If it's quartz, Corian, granite, if you name it, I installed it. So if you need a plug, come talk to me. But in all seriousness, I was working this one day with a guy named Mike, and Mike was a great guy. And Mike and I would often have conversations, and we would talk about, you know, various things, and even including faith. And I remember because Mike would always encourage me and support me in my career path for the ministry. And I always thought that was so cool. And so Mike and I would work various jobs, and some days we would get home at 3 p.m., some days we'd get home at 6 p.m., 8 p.m. If even one time we got home at 2 a.m. the next day after we started. You know, Mike and I went on a lot of adventures together, and we had a lot of fun working with each other. But you see, there was this one day where our contractor put us in a real bad spot, and our employer put us in a really bad spot too with some jobs. And I remember I was so agitated and irritated, and so was Mike, because everything just seemed like it couldn't go right. And all Mike and I wanted to do was get home. But I remember Mike looked at me, and he could tell I was angry. And he spoke these words to me. He said, "Cory, today is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." And man, that challenged me. That challenged me so much because, you see, on that particular day, that was not what I was thinking. I was not happy. I was not having it. The circumstances that were all around me were dictating how I could live my life at that particular moment. And all I could do was control what was right in front of me and my very own emotions. And so in that moment, Mike reminded me of a very important truth, and that is that every day is a day that God has given us. So we do need to rejoice and be glad in it. And so, church, I just want to encourage you today, with whatever's happening, with whatever the circumstances are, be reminded that today is a gift from God. We have breath in our lungs, we have roofs over our houses, and we have a God who is so madly, passionately in love with us. So let us rejoice and be glad in it. God bless, church. Have a good one.